is a scene in Doctor Who, which is often mocked, in which Romana seems to have used up several of her regenerations. In truth, Romana is a more recent Time Lord than the Doctor, and perhaps more recent Time Lords have the ability to try out new bodies before their regeneration sets in. The truth was, the producer had been unable to persuade Mary Tam, who played the first Romana, to return to the role, and so the only alternative was for Romana to either regenerate or leave the TARDIS in between seasons. Speaking personally, I think this scene is quite good. It's just a shame about the 90 minutes that follow it. When we first saw Skaro back in the 1960s, it was a truly terrifying place, and the TARDIS crew were fugitives, lost in the vast wilderness of the space-time continuum. In Destiny of the Daleks, however, the Doctor and Romana toddle off into a war-torn, radiation-soaked planet as though it's a day trip to Weymouth.
Summer sun, something's begun, but the summer nights.
Skaro is now apparently devoid of organic life, although I think there are still spiders. The Daleks have returned to Skaro in order to find their creator Davros, in the hope that he'll be able to break a centuries-long stalemate in a war the Daleks have been fighting against the Movellans, a race of androids, who I'm guessing want to take over the universe so they can turn it into a giant disco hall.
She's crazy like a fool. Bye-bye, Daddy, cool.
The Movellans are very easy to outwit, and they're very easy to depower. You might have wondered how such incompetent people could possibly have matched wits with the Daleks for so long. Yes, you might have wondered, if it wasn't for the fact that the Daleks in this story are absolutely useless. They now seem to be completely robotic, they repeat the same things over and over again until they become monotonous, and one of them explodes when the Doctor puts his hat on its eye stalk. The production team of the late 1970s tended not to do Return of Monster X type stories. The Sontarans in the Invasion of Time only returned because they were a cheap way of extending the episode count of a story which was itself a last-minute replacement. I can only assume the BBC hierarchy pressured them into making a Dalek story because of falling merchandising sales. Lumbered with a story which has to involve Davros and the Daleks, it just seems everybody is sending it up to relieve the monotony. A group of slave workers lining up to be exterminated just look bored. It seems even the extras had absolutely no enthusiasm for this story. This, incidentally, is the story where the Doctor famously tells the Daleks to spack off. This was obviously a mistake, but the fact it made it into the final cut makes me wonder if anybody was really paying attention. The Doctor is not treating the Daleks or Davros seriously throughout this story, and we're never given a reason why he should. Davros has gone from being a genuinely interesting character to a one-dimensional cartoon megalomaniac. In his ill-fitting mask, wobbling along in a life support machine prop which was clearly designed for someone else, and talking in a voice that sounds very much like somebody trying to sound scary, he just inspires humour rather than horror. The Daleks in this story are treated the same way as the Sontarans in The Invasion of Time, basically figures of fun who have seen better days. Dalek stories in the 1980s would improve dramatically, but like Davros, events in this story just left me cold.